Silence echoed in the meeting halls of Port Cavan. Several elves, each holding honored titles in cities of their own, sat staring at the figure at the head of the table, Thal Victus. "So, Thal, the Saurians?" a woman gilded in fine silks questioned, a look of disbelief on her face. The prince simply stared her down until the disbelief melted away. "They have returned. Our Grand Master Hilthor has confirmed it." "And the dwarves are now their slaves again? Do you realize how insane that sounds?" another of the group poised. "The dwarves would not enslave themselves." Thal looked over the group before continuing. "You do not know these dwarves as I do. They sought to assault my port, and they have done so at the call of those vile serpents." With a wave of his hand, Thal dismissed the conversation altogether. "This is not why I called this council. I called it as I will need aid with the coming war against the lizards." The crowd quickly erupted into a frenzy of questions and comments as to why a war would be needed, until Thal slammed his heavy fist on the table. "I need allies, not cowards who wish to debate what my people have seen." With that, a woman of extremely pale skin and jet-black hair arose. "My Lord Victus," she called, an ever-present grin resting on her face. "Whether the accusations are true or not, I don't care." Thal's face scowled until she continued. If you seek to wage a war on the dwarves, I'll lend my aid. I have a personal grudge." "Then you will lead my first assault of this war on them. Gather your forces and return to my lands." With that, the woman left the room, an almost girly skip in her step. "Now then, as for the rest of you," he paused, "let us begin to deal with more important matters." All right, we have another narrative battle report for you guys. This one is going to be my Dwarven Holds against Michael's Highborn Elves at 4,000 points. Standard deployment with no additional objectives. This is going to represent essentially a mercenary force at the behest of Thal Victus, being run by Lady Is Thalasar, who is an elvish woman with a grudge of her own against the Dwarven people. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll talk army lists. Okay, starting with Michael's Highborn Elves. On the left, we have a Seaguard Reaper. Then we have a unit of 20 Seaguard with full command. In with them is... Okay, no, not anybody in with them yet. Next to that is a unit of 30 Swordmasters with full command and the banner of Becalming. With them is Lord Fenry of House Whitethorn, a Commander BSB with the Master of Conrieg Tower, Armor of Destiny, Great Sword, and 4 spells from the lore of Druidism, and a longbow. Next to that is a unit of 19 Seaguard with full command, and in that is his prince, Lady Is Talazar, a High Warden of the Flame, with the giant sword, heavy armor, hardened shield, and the great bow of Elu. Then over here, he's got 2 of those freaking lion chariots that I hate so much. And on the other side of the forest, you can't quite see it, he has a sky sloop with the bolt thrower attachment on it. Alright, so my dwarves, starting on my left, I have a unit of 10 clan crossbowmen with a musician and shields. Next to that is a rune-crafted organ gun. Next to that is a unit of 20 Deep Watch with full command. They have the runic standard of shielding on the unit. In that unit is my king, Clan Whitehammer. He has a runic weapon with the Rune of Fury, Rune of Quickening, and Rune of Penetrating on it. Runic armor with 2 runes of iron, and a runic talisman with the Rune of Dragon's Breath. Also in that unit is Badir Stonespeaker, my new runic smith, after the last one was killed. He has the Rune of Denial on an arcane item and the runic talisman with a Rune of the Forge and a Rune of Dragon's Breath on it. He also has the battle runes of Reckoning, Resilience, and Swift Striding. Behind them, up on the hill, is a rune-crafted Dwarvish Ballista. Next to that, I have a Steamcopter. Next to that is a unit of 20 Greybeards with full command. They have great weapons and throwing weapons, and the Banner of Speed. Next to that is another 10-man unit of Clan Marksmen with shields and only a musician. And in with the Greybeards is Thane Gimrick Ironhelm. He is my battle standard bearer. He has armor with 2 runes of Aegis on him to give some magic resistance, and a talisman with the Rune of Infamy and the Rune of Dragon's Breath. So I've actually got 3 breath weapons set ready to go and roast some elves, so I'm hoping I'll get the chance to do just that. And then sitting off here to the side is a unit of 10 miners with full command and pistols and shields. They are ready to ambush, hopefully to deal with some of the threats in the backfield. So I go ahead and get the first turn. This game was going really late, so I'm tired. I missed a couple of pictures, and a couple of them are a little blurry, so I'm going to apologize for that up front. But I didn't move at all turn 1. I see him drop 30 Swordmasters on the table in a brick, and I kind of froze. That unit scares the tar out of me. I don't think there's anything in my army that can handle it if I let it get close to me. So I figured I might as well just sit here and throw all the shooting at it I can, and maybe I can thin it down to a decent number by the time it reaches me. So I end up sitting here. All of his shooting is going to have to go through, at least for everything in this center core, through the 5-up ward save from the Banner of Shielding that the Deep Watch have on them. So all I did for magic was throw the -1 to be wounded on the crossbowmen here on the side because they're outside of that bubble. I end up shooting with the ballista at the rightmost lion chariot. I do hit it, but I think I only do 1 wound. And everything else I unload on the crossbowman, the freaking organ gun, everything, and combined, I kill a single greatsword, swordmaster. This has got me very, very worried. So we go to Highborn Elves turn 1. He realizes he does have a lot of shooting in this unit with the 2 Sea Guard units, but it's all strength 3. So he realizes he's going to have to come get me, so he starts moving forward. And over here he moves forward as well. The thing I like is he does peek out from behind the forest, so I'm going to be able to start shooting at his flying chariot with the bolt thrower, so I can get the +1 to hit there. He succeeds in throwing up Oaken Throne. Now, my way of looking at this, and I don't know if this is the best tactic to go with it when dealing with Druidic magic, but I let him get off Oaken Throne every turn. I figured it bled away a couple of dice and increased the chances that I was going to counterspell or dispel the other spell he had. So I kind of went for that target and doing it that way instead of dispelling the throne and running the risk of him getting the less powerful versions of the spell off. Then he opens up shooting. He shoots at the organ gun with both of his units of Sea Guard and the 2 characters that have weapons. And we counted, it was like 42 shots, and he did a single wound to the organ gun. I was rolling just stupidly good on the 5-up ward save and the armor on them, because they do have heavy armor on the organ guns. So I was super happy that I might actually get a chance to use the thing. Then over here, his bolt thrower on the back of the uh, flying chariot ends up killing 2 of my clan marksmen on this side. So Dwarven holds turn 2. You will notice I did not move at all again. Um, at this point, I didn't move first turn, so I kind of feel like I'm stuck not moving until he gets to me. Because if I come up forward at all, those chariots are going to slam into me. So I didn't go aggressive first turn, so I figure I got to hold back and see what happens. And over here, the miners fail to come on the board. Sad miners. And I dispel the throne. Most of my magic, until he gets closer to me, really isn't going to matter, so I figure I'll just use my magic phase to dispel his throne every turn, make him keep casting it. Then I start shooting, and I kill 4 of the sword masters. I'm not sure whether this was the organ gun or the crossbowman. I use the ballista on the back. I do hit the flying chariot and do a couple of wounds to it. And then I hit the sword masters, whichever one of those I didn't hit last time, and did 5 more wounds. So I've taken him down to by 9, I think, at this point. 9 or 10 at this point. So Highborn Elves turn 2. I figure he was going to kind of double charge some stuff with the lion chariot, so I was stupid and didn't stand and shoot here, thinking I would stand and shoot the other one. He didn't decide to charge with it, so that was kind of dumb. And it did make the charge here. That's going to be a lot of impact hits. My only hope is that he doesn't kill the whole freaking thing on impact hits, and I can use the 5-up shield save that they have for being charged to maybe keep myself alive for a little while. And over here, he brings everything onto the side. I'm kind of in trouble here. I've been freaking out so much about the sword masters that I've allowed 3 chariots to get into my flank. And my ballista just isn't killing them fast enough. Over here, oh yeah, he moves up, leaving his 1 unit of Sea Guard in the back because he's just going to shoot with them. Everything else is moving forward. And during his magic phase, he throws up the Oaken Throne again, and then tries to throw... I think he tries to throw a spell to do damage to my bolt thrower, or not my bolt thrower, my organ gun, Strength of Earth, I think, and I use the scroll to stop it. Then during shooting, he does a little bit better this time. He's still throwing in a lot of shots and only gets 2 more wounds on the organ gun, so it's still around. He also uses the bolt thrower on the back of his sky sloop to shoot at my copter and succeeds in getting 1 wound on it. And over here, the combat actually goes really well for me, all things considered. He does kill 4 of my crossbowmen on impact hits. And then he, between whiffing and my 5-up ward save, or shield save, he doesn't do anything else. I get 1 wound through him, so I'm down by 4. I'm needing a 5 with a reroll, and I stick it on the reroll. So my guys aren't going anywhere. Dwarven holds turn 3. Now, I am sorry, this picture looks blurry, but the one that actually showed my middle movement was even worse. I don't know, it was late, I don't know what was going on. But I actually march up like crazy in the middle because I figure it's time to throw some fire breath. And then I just bring my chopper over here in front of the other lion chariot, figuring maybe I'll shoot it. Do some damage, and since it's quick to fire, if he charges me, I'll get a stand and shoot again. So hopefully I'll take that out. Over here, my miners finally come on the board. Unfortunately, everything has moved up so far. Really, the only good target for them is this bolt thrower, so that's where I put them. And then my ballista finally decides to get off its lazy ass and kill the sky sloop. And then I blow the swordmasters up. I end up just rolling out of the box for the number of hits, and I killed everything in the unit except for his BSB, who is his spellcaster. But he doesn't fail his panic check, so he just stays there. But now that the swordmasters are off the board, there's really not anything left in his army I'm afraid of. Maybe some of his magic if he can buff it, but I've been holding him down pretty good. I'm not really afraid of those spearmen at all. They're strength 3, and I've still got a lot of my army left, so I'm thinking things are going very, very well for me right now. And then the combat over here goes. One of my crossbowmen survives. He breaks and runs away. The chariot does not choose to pursue. So we go into Highborn Elves turn 3, and my opponent is frankly in shock about the swordmasters, but decides to go in anyway, charges with this chariot on my copter, moves up his other chariot, so he's an inch away from my ballista, so there is absolutely zero way he'll miss the charge next turn. Because he did not choose to reform, because he I don't know why he didn't choose to reform. Maybe he tried to chase me down. I don't recall. And so here is the part where my opponent got flustered, and we were kind of in the moment. He forgot his magic phase. We didn't even remember it until he was almost all the way done with his shooting phase, so we just kind of went on without it. Which certainly hurt him, but it was just kind of the way the game flowed. We didn't feel it would make much sense to go back before the shooting phase and redo all magic again. So, so the bolt thrower turns around, shoots a couple of miners off the board. And then the shooting from the Sea Guard in the back finally kills my bolt thrower, or my organ gun. You can also see that his BSB has run away and joined that second Sea Guard unit in the back there. Over here, there was no chance that I was going to survive those impact hits, really. So he kills me and reforms here. So we go to Dwarven Holds turn 4. I charge the bolt thrower in the back with the miners. No surprise there. I had a long charge. I think it was I needed a 9 or a 10 to hit these spearman unit. I figured to go ahead and try it. He chose to flee. I was outside of the range to be able to redirect, so I just went ahead a few inches. And then we start rallying. You can see that I also reformed my great swords, or my graybeards, to see his chariot coming. But I'm rolling half leadership, which is a 4, and my one remaining crossbowman over here sticks his reroll, or not his reroll, it sticks his leadership check and rallies at the edge of the board. And that's just another picture of me reforming the graybeards. Over here, my crossbowmen shoot the Sea Guard and end up taking 2 of them off the board. And in combat, obviously the miners just absolutely brutalize this bolt thrower and turn to face the Sea Guard. So we go to Highborn Elves turn 4, and the Lion Chariot charges into the ballista. No surprise there, it is a dead man. And over here, he is within, like, after my movement for my charge last turn, I think I need an 11 to charge this unit. So he decides, rather than do that, he's going to swift reform and move within an inch of my miners to get out of the way of the Deep Watch coming at him. And then he manages to rally this unit of Sea Guard. He also moves over here. I'm not sure what we were thinking, because when he moves over here, he's like, I think he specifically said he was doing it to get out of the charge of the Great Sword, or the Greybeards. And I said that was the case, and we kind of left it here, but now I'm looking at the picture, and it doesn't look like that's the case at all, but that's kind of what we're thinking here. We basically treated it as if I couldn't see him. And then during his magic phase, he gets up the Oaken Throne again. And I stop everything else. So, he then shoots a bunch of shots, but only kills one miner, because he's shooting at like strength 3. And I have the shields on them to protect them from some shooting. We go into combat, and obviously the chariot destroys the ballista, but then he rolls a 3 to overrun and just ends up on top of the hill. So Dwarven holds turn 5. I attempt to charge the Sea Guard again. He does not flee with him, but I needed like a 10 or 11 and did not get it. Then I reformed here because I remembered these guys have throwing weapons, and I decided just to start throwing stuff at this chariot and see if I can hit it, because they are strength 4 and a lot of shots. So I basically just reformed them so they were longer so I could get more shots. And then I swift reformed here so that I could take some shots with pretty significant penalties at this chariot. And during my magic phase, all I did was dispel his throne again. Yeah, I'll talk about what I think about this magic later, but that's basically feels like the most impactful thing I've done magically all game. And then in shooting, my miners pull out some pistols and cap a couple of elves. And these guys throw just a ridiculous number of weapons in it and butcher this lion chariot. And then I get really lucky with my shooting over here, and even with the -2 penalty, I was needing to hit on 7s, I'm pretty sure. No, just 6s, because he's in, but I ended up doing 4 or 5 wounds with what I needed to do, and that was enough to kill the chariot. And again, sorry for the blurry, but he charges his Sea Guard into my miners. I stand and shoot and kill 4 of them. And then he charges the spearman here. At this point, I'm kind of wondering if he's just tired of the way the game's going and wants to end it, because I'm still pretty much thinking I got this. And then he gets off the Oaken Throne, which I let happen. And now my magic tactics fail. I fail to stop him from getting off the Stone Skin spell. And he pops +3 toughness on these elves. And now I'm having to wound him on 6s. So I'm worried that this could go very badly, because I've got my general, my runesmith, and a very expensive unit here that he could just snap points up for, and I'm very, very nervous right now. And in combat, he goes ahead and kills my miner unit and reforms. And then he kills 5 of my Deep Watch, and I am not able with my characters or with the Deep Watch to inflict a single wound on him. I lose by a boatload. I'm thinking I'm screwed. I don't even have ranks on it. But then I realize that the Deep Watch have bodyguard. And I've got characters in here, so I'm stubborn, leadership 10, and I don't go anywhere. So that was a very nice save. So Dwarven holds turn 6. I basically just reform everybody to watch what's going on. I'm really wishing that great, or the great weapon unit I had could have gotten into really anything this game, but I'm okay with that, because I'm still feeling pretty strong here. And I do decide to, you know what, forget his dispelling his throne because I don't have many dice this phase. I figure the big thing to get through is the -1 to be wounded, hopefully so I can negate some of the wounds he does to me. I'm still going to be hitting on 6s, or wounding on 6s, so I can't really count on me getting many. I just have to mitigate the damage he can do and hopefully not lose the combat. And then we go into combat. I get in a challenge with his character in there, maybe with my champion. So he kills the champion and kills one and does one overkill. And then his spearman kind of fluff. He only kills 2, which I guess with the -1 isn't too unexpected. But then I turn around and kill 4. So we either bounce here or I lose by 1. I don't recall which, but I don't go anywhere. So we go to Highborn Elves turn 6, and my opponent tries to charge the other unit into the flank of my Deep Watch. He needed an 8 or a 9, and he rolled a 4, and did not get in there, which I am super happy with. Then during his magic phase, he throws Master of Earth on this one last unit to kill it. And I didn't actually realize that that was a mistake until I was going through the notes for this battle report, because Master of Earth is limited to 18 inches, or that can be measured from either the caster or an impassable terrain piece. We were measuring it from the hills for some reason, but it's actually stone skin that comes from the hills. So he shouldn't have been able to do that, but ultimately it's one crossbowman. I'm not going to cry about it. What I would like to cry about, however, is I stop him from getting the toughness buff on him, but he does get the 4-up regen buff on his spearman. So again, I'm probably thinking I'm not going to get many wounds through. And that's exactly what happens. He throws his character up for a challenge again. I toss my runecaster in, and or runic smith in, and he only inflicts 1 wound on the runic smith. And then we trade a pillow fight. We each kill 1 of the other's general troops, and so that's pretty much it. I think I lose by 1, but no, maybe we bounced. But either way, I'm still, now that my BSB is closer, now I'm a rerollable leadership 10 stubborn, so that's pretty much going to be it. As the Dwarven forces pressed in on the remaining elves, King Thongren Whitehammer saw the elves of one Seaguard group raise the white flag of surrender. Shortly after, the other did likewise. He turned to his banner-bearer, Thane Gimrick, who said, "Shall we honor their surrender, cousin?" The king thought over it for a moment as he surveyed the bloody battlefield, then nodded. "I will not command the deaths of those that do not wish to fight, no matter our grudge with their master. But bring me the leaders of this force. I have a message for them to take back to that cowardly prince of theirs." A short time later, Lord Fenry of House Whitethorn and Lady Ias Talasar were brought to the command post and presented to the Dwarven king. Lord Fenry was reserved, but courteous, but Lady Ias looked as if she would like to force her way past the surrounding guards and attack the king with her bare hands. King Thongren ignored her and addressed Fenry. "You serve the ruler of Port Cavan, yes?" The elf nodded. "My liege is Prince Thal Victus, master of the city." "Then you will be sent back to him, to bear a message. I, Thongren Whitehammer, king of my clan, and lord of Nevaz Barag, hereby settle the grudge earned by your lord for his cowardly attack on our queen's entourage, who traveled to your city in peace to seek alliance and trade. In this place, that debt has been paid in blood. But for the death of Cale Steelcaster, high runic smith of our clan, who was slain in a battle ordered by your prince, the grudge is not settled, and at some future date, we shall deal with that matter privately. Lord Fenry's eyes widened slightly at the revelation of the cause for the first battle of this campaign, but he let the Dwarf Lord finish. Your prince has proven himself a warmonger, who seeks the blood of my people with no just cause. To defend our lands from his aggression, we have made alliances with others who have been wronged by him. We do not wish this conflict to continue, but if Thal Victus pushes us, we shall drive his people into the sea and bring the very stones of his city down around to bury him. The Elven Lord bristled at the insult to his prince, but remained stoic, realizing that the Dwarf King could easily have him killed and send another messenger in his place. He simply looked the Dwarf Lord in the eye and calmly stated, "We know of your alliances, Dwarf King. I shall bear your exact words to my liege, and I have no doubt you will receive his answer soon." "No!" screamed Lady Ias as she pushed past the guards and charged King Thongren. "I will not serve as slave to the tasks of you murdering dogs." The Dwarf King lashed out with his shield, and with a single blow, thunk, to the head, knocked out the Elven Lady. "Lord Fenry, you will take this lady with you, her words and her assault on my person forgotten. Remember well this dwarvish mercy, for if your prince continues to threaten us, you will not see its like again." So, we have a Dwarven Holds victory. Came down to points at the end of turn 6, and it ended up being a 12-8 victory for the Dwarven Holds. It was a good game. I think the triple fire breath is a good way to deal with the giant mass of Swordmasters, though we do kind of both agree that both the giant, like 30-man brick of Swordmasters and the triple fire breath thing is both a little cheesy. So we had a gentleman's agreement after the game that neither of us would bring that particular configuration again. But I actually didn't intend this list to be as as gunliney as it turned out to be. Again, I think I hesitated when I saw the Swordmasters and kind of forced it that way. My main attempt for the fire breaths were essentially to use them to buff up combat res or as a stand and shoot reaction, something like that. But I can't really say that hitting a single unit with 3 fire breaths like right in a row is a bad way to deal with elves. All in all, I know people say, the organ gun's great, take the organ gun, blah, 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 blah. I still don't like it. I don't know if I'll keep using it. I may play with it some more. I just don't know. Part of it is that in general, like, those kind of shooting things don't work very well for me. This game, actually, my shooting was incredibly good compared to what it usually is for me. What wasn't great, I don't think my deployment was very good. My big hammer unit basically just got left out of the fight because I think I placed him badly. They did throw some thrown weapons to kill a single chariot, but I look at the points and it's like, to kill a 230 point chariot, that was a 710 point unit, so not even close to earning its points back there. I certainly think I could have pushed the victory harder had I gotten that unit into combat, because it could have done some just massive damage to these light elven units, minus the great swords. The great swords would have eaten them for breakfast, but all in all, we did a lot of tactical talk off of this after this. I think for the most part, I still don't really know how to build a good dwarf character. I end up trying to make the dwarf characters very specialized. Like for instance, my king here in this game was built, I mean, minus the breath weapon trick, was built with the design of taking out heavily armored knights because he was getting several attacks with no armor save, that sort of thing. But I didn't come up against that, so it was a lot of points wasted. I need to find a way to make my dwarf characters a little more generic so that they're kind of good regardless of what they come up against. And my opponent basically just needs to stop putting all his threat in one unit. Because it does two things. First of all, it draws the attention. As soon as he sat down that 30-man brick of Swordmasters, I realized that the game I would win or lose the game based on whether that unit was still around. And because he's spending so many points on that unit and his various characters, I think his Prince, who really didn't do crap all game, was almost 700 points. His caster got a lot of movement, but it was a caster BSB who was better than 500 points. So he sunk a lot of points into characters and a lot more into that big unit. And he obviously, because it didn't survive, he didn't get any use out of it. So I told him that he should probably split the unit up and go with like 10 or 15 man Swordmasters, maybe some other threats, some chaff, something like that, and try and control the movement a little bit more and pick his fights. So we'll see if that changes from here on out. I also said I was going to talk a little bit about the magic of the lore of Druidism. It's got some good spells in it, and being able to heal up your people is great. I don't like the Oaken Throne mechanic. I think it already, in a situation in which being the magic phase, where I already think the defending person kind of has a leg up, it helps them with that, because it basically gives a couple of different ways to oppose it. You can do like what I did and let him get the throne off and cancel everything else, which worked fine for me till the very end. Or you could do it the other way around, but there's more areas than any other lore where that falls apart. But I don't think he did badly with his magic. And I actually think he did earn, like the magic he did earned his points back at that very end, because he was 500 points or something. If I had killed and run down that spearman unit with his general in it, that would have been like over 1,100 points. So, it was still good. I don't know if he would have been benefited going with another lore. I've been dealing with a lot of the pyromancy lately, so I've taken to putting magic resistance in my armies, which is something that I never really did in old Warhammer Fantasy. So, that's pretty exciting. But I think because I'm doing that now, he's going to have to move away from pyromancy and go with another lore. But all in all, it was a fun game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Again, sorry for the unusually high number of blurry pics here. I don't know what was going on. I think it was late and my eyes were getting blurry. And so it was making it a little harder to take the pictures. But again, I hope you guys like it. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, all of that fun stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one.